Today Kate's going to talk about creating your own storybook. To give you a little bit more background, Kate has worked as an infertility counsellor for 20 years and is also the chair of the Australian New Zealand Infertility Counsellors Association. Kate also runs an annual Time to Tell seminar in Melbourne and has written the book Sometimes It Takes Three to Make a Baby. So welcome, Kate.
Hi everyone, and thank you for hanging around for the last session. I'm sort of worst time of the day, brain dead and exhausted. It's been an amazing conference, so thanks so much for staying. So I'm going to talk about making a family storybook, and this is really the best thing that you can do for your child to explain how you came to be a family. I'm going to sort of talk about why make one and what you might put in it, and give you some lovely, lovely examples. So, I talk about a family storybook, but it could actually be a memory box, it could be a film, it could be a scrapbook, it could be one of those sort of digital journals that you can do through some of the companies. So it's really about finding what you're good at, what you find, easier to do, and you don't have to do just one. At different stages of your child's life, you might want to add to it, or do a more, complex one with more information. Kids love tactile things, so you might have a storybook and a memory box for some of those mementos. And it's a really useful tool to really help explain to your child how they came to be. So the kids' books that were for sale outside are tremendous, but every child loves to know their own story. And this also, I think, really helps you to process exactly the words that she might do. So, often parents wonder exactly what they might say. So the process of actually writing your own storybook helps you to put into words at its simplest what you'd say. And often, it's broken down to we wanted to have you so very much, we needed some help, and this very kind person helped us, and you go into where you went, which doctor you went to, who was the person, and when you were born, we were so delighted that we became a family. So that's as easy as it is. That's the context, the ingredients, and you can't begin to imagine what that does for your child. They grow up knowing that. They do really develop that sense of self, that self-confidence. They know where they belong, where they come from, and also because you're doing that with a sense of pride, then they feel proud in themselves. And I think if you saw the session yesterday with the 3 young people, obviously their families have done that very, very well, because they all felt very sure of who they were and very proud of their parents and of their surrogate. And so it actually strengthens your relationship with your child, and it's also actually really good therapy for you to work out what do you call your surrogate, what do you call your genetic donor. So that's all useful. So what do you put in it? Well, it's really good, and for those of you who are just beginning your journey, please collect everything. Keep everything that you can. Take photos, take videos, videos of if you're of the clinic, of the doctor, of your donor, of your surrogate. Keep photos, keep mementos of the scans, anything that you've got, what your baby wore coming home. All those things are just lovely to have already. So all of those things can be great. So I'm just going to, and I'm really grateful to the families who helped give me their family stories, because I thought the nicest things that you could see is some other families' examples. We run family storybook workshops to actually help families write their own family storybooks. But these families actually did it all by themselves. So I'll just sort of go through those with you, and they're actually quite similar, even though different families did them, but the same ingredients that I talked about before. So our family, a story of love, hope and a baby, kept by Amanda. So thank you, Amanda. Once upon a time, there was a lady called Amanda. She loved pandas, photography and smoking. One day she met a handsome man called Shane. He loved cars, music, collectibles and Toy Story. Amanda and Shane fell in love and got married. They were very happy together. Dr. Shivani found two special ladies to help Amanda and Shane, and Amanda didn't want to share the photos of her donor because she's promised that she would keep those private, so we don't have. But in your book, of course, if you've got photos of your donor, please include those. The first lady was very kind and gave them some very tiny pieces called eggs. These are needed to make a baby. She's called the egg donor. The eggs had to be mixed with some tiny pieces from Shane called sperm. And it's really good that they're using the proper words. Don't be afraid to use eggs and sperm. Kids can actually understand those words from a really young age, and it's so much better to use the proper terminology right from the word go. When the eggs and sperm mix together, they become an embryo, which is like a tiny seed. The embryo needs to be inside a lady's tummy so it can grow into a baby. So she's explaining it really beautifully, and she's got a picture of an embryo. Now, I'm not sure whether that's actually the baby. Some people actually have a picture of their embryo, and of course that's really beautiful to be able to tell your child that was you when you were 4 cells or 6 cells or 8 cells. But if you don't have a picture of your actual child, of course you can Google one, and all embryos look pretty much the same, so they're not going to know. The second lady, Auntie Shivana, found was very beautiful and kind and let the embryo grow in her tummy until it was a baby and ready to be born. And again, she's not included the surrogate's face because of confidentiality reasons, but of course it's nice to include all the information about the surrogate. Her name was Sunita. She is called the surrogate. After nearly 9 months, the baby was born in India at 4:40 p.m. on 29th of May 2013. It was a girl, and Amanda and Shane called her Samantha Lee. They were very excited to finally have their baby. Amanda and Shane were very, very happy that someone helped them make a baby. They gave Auntie Shivani and the other ladies money and gifts to say thank you. When they got home, Darcy and Sam were very excited to meet their new family. Now, another example. This gorgeous book was actually made by the mother of one of the dads, and she drew the pictures. She's actually a primary school teacher. Primary school teachers are wonderful at making kids' books, and a very proud grandma. So she took photos that the family had, the dads had, and then turned them into illustrations. So this just gives you another idea of what you might do. I have 2 daddies. They wanted to have a family. My 2 daddies knew that they could not make a baby by themselves. Daddies' tummies are not meant to carry babies inside them, so they went to see a special doctor in India. That's where they met Dr. Yash, and she told them about surrogates. Surrogates are very special ladies who carry babies in their tummies for daddies.
Hey, can I just suggest you use the microphone? It's quite noisy at the back of the room. Thanks.
My 2 daddies were so happy. My 2 daddies went to meet Chad. She wanted them to be their surrogate and carry their baby for them. Dr. Yash put my 2 daddies' baby in Shaya's tummy so that it could start to grow. The baby inside Shaya's tummy grew and grew. Her tummy was very big. After 9 months, it was time for me to be born. My 2 daddies went to the hospital. They were so happy and excited. Dr. Yash took me out of Shaya's tummy and handed me to my 2 daddies. They were so happy to have a beautiful baby boy. My 2 daddies said thank you to Chad for helping them have a baby. That's why I'm so special. And these dads actually pay for their surrogate to have English lessons. and every 3 months they have a Skype session with Shaya, and the clinic, one of the staff members translate, and they're able to show the surrogate how they now have 3 kids, how they're thriving. So that's, really, really special, and it sounds like a pretty special clinic that actually does that, and I think that's really lovely that the kids can grow up having a sense of who their surrogate is, and for the surrogate I imagine it's extremely satisfying for her to see that the kids are thriving, and also they're really helping her, in terms of learning English so that they will actually be able to communicate, and I imagine that it will really help her in terms of employment and things like that. Now, we do run seminars, Barter, and so every year we just had it a few weeks ago. We have a Time to Tell seminar. That's a full day seminar. We have over 100 parents that come, and we have professionals talking about why tell, how to tell. We talk about the donor registers, and then we have real families talking from all different family constellations and type of donation and surrogacy, and then in the afternoon we have breakout groups for all different families. So it's a tremendous day, and then we also run the family storybooks. And but look, if you don't have the time and energy, there is just one company in Australia that will help you. It's run by a woman who's a solo mother, and she will make the book for you. So if you really feel time poor, I would always encourage you to do it yourself, but if you really feel that you haven't got the time or energy, you're too busy working and raising a child, you can send your mementos and photos to her. She will send you a draft of what the book would look like. You get the chance to make any suggestions, and then once you're happy with it, then it's completed, and it's a hardback book that you get. So just she's done a mock-up of one for gay dads. Daddy and Pa loved one another immensely. They really wanted to share their life and love with a family, so they decided to make a baby. They asked the doctor for some help. The doctor said they needed sperm from Daddy to join with a woman's egg, and that would make a baby grow inside a woman's tummy. Some very generous women had already donated their eggs to the doctor so they could help make babies. Women that do this are called egg donors. Daddy and Pa's doctor saved the best donor for them. The egg donor was a kind nurse who helped people when they were sick. She had blue eyes just like Pa and brown hair. She was a baby once too. Some clinics will give a photo of the donor when they're a baby. The other thing, of course, you can do is if you have profile information, you can create an envelope in the book and then pop all that information inside there, and the child can look at that. You can look at it together. The doctor then put Daddy's sperm into a dish to join with the donor's egg and create an embryo. This procedure is called IVF. Once the embryo started to grow into a baby, the doctor transferred the growing embryo into the surrogate's tummy. You kept growing on until Karen's belly was huge. Daddy and Pa loved your precious little face from the moment that they saw you. Pa and Daddy adore you so much they feel like bursting with happiness. So thank you, Amanda, Shane, David, Alison. Teresa?
I just want to know what age, like the language is quite sophisticated, and I wanted to start talking to my child from, now.
Yeah.
What age do you think these books are?
Well, I think it's great that you're starting and your baby's only 5 weeks, is that right? So start when, you're changing a nappy, feeding her, just practice, and really use simple language. But like the kids yesterday, they can't remember a time when they didn't know, and so they will indicate if they don't quite get it. Sometimes, they think a donor is the donut. You have to kind of check out what they do understand and what they don't. And so it's I think as a mother you'll know whether they do. And kids will really surprise you at how young they are when they really understand. And you know, they'll say something and you'll think, wow, you know, they're 2 or 3 and they actually get it. And, you know, yeah. So, I mean, kids have pretty, you know, they're pretty mechanical. I mean, as they get older, you need to explain that Daddy didn't have sex with the surrogate. You know, that you get into that age. But kids from a young age, for them it makes perfect sense if all their lollies dropped onto the playground floor, that they would want a friend to say, here, come and have some of mine. If someone's tummy is broken, they think it's the most natural thing in the world that you would then find someone whose tummy was working to help you. So that's quite logical for them. And the most important thing is not sometimes what you say. If you say something and you look so embarrassed and ashamed, and you know, clearly the child is never to ask you a question about it, because you know, you feel insecure about yourself as a parent, then that's what they'll you know, that they'll pick up on. But if you tell your story with pride and with openness, so that the child feels that they can ask you about anything, and that you have the most enormous respect for your surrogate, and if you've used a donor, and then they feel very much that they were created from, you know, generosity and trust and great, you know, good feeling amongst all parties. That's what comes across, and then they'll feel really good about how their family is formed.
I think there's a question
To use the word sperm, it's not a taboo word, but if your partner's feeling really embarrassed about it, use boy bit. The part for the man, the part for the woman. So rather than putting the whole book away, you can always change the language. It's got to be what you feel comfortable. Personally, I've you know, my kids have all grown up. I mean, they're not gestated by a surrogate, but we're a very open family, and you know, when I wrote my book, you know, about egg donation, I mean, it was tested on them, even though they weren't created by an egg donor. So kids, you know, grow up knowing the terminology, and then it's quite natural. You know, my son was taken to the doctor, and she asked to see his doodle, and he said, "What's a doodle?" You know, and she just said penis. He would have been fine, because we use the word penis in our household.
That's quite right.
Nothing wrong with it. But are there any other experienced parents in the room? I'd love to hear from you guys. Yeah.
Room for 1 or 2 comments.
I'm the same. I'm doing nursing, so I make sure my kids know all the correct words. I did an egg donation when my daughter was 2, and my son was probably 6, and they know that, you know, I have eggs in my tummy, and I tried to give them to someone else to have a baby, and they know the sperm meets the egg and creates them, and they know the days they were conceived and born. And my son was even in the room when his sister was born, and I started him off with watching YouTube video clips of animals being born, and he took to it so well that we gave him the option whether he wanted to be there, and we had someone else to back him up in case he needed to leave. But he's so proud that he was there. He saw where she came from. He saw what my body did, and he helped me with a cloth on my head, and he knows all of that. He doesn't know anything about sex, but he knows the ins and outs and how it happens, and he's really proud to me. And my 3-year-old is just the same. It's crazy about it.
You know, obviously I don't have a child by surrogacy, but I do have 2 children by adoption, and you know, we do very similar things. And I think one of the most important things is if there's difficult information, to make sure that it's in there, because you don't want them finding out about it later. And part of this is for you. It's not for the child. It's, you know, you've got the story together, and you know what the important things are to communicate to them. So, for example, my daughters, their birthdays are probably made up. They're probably not real. You don't know where they were born. That information is important for them to know. They don't find out when they're 13, oh yeah, well actually that date that's on your thing is, you know, might not be right. We've talked about it for forever, and so it's not a big deal for them because they've been able to assimilate it as they've gone along, and I think that that's really important.
Last comment over here.
I've offered some advice in terms of talking to children. My daughter's going to sleep at night. When I've got several books, and she's 4, so I think I started when she was about 3, sort of starting to read some books. There's one about a beagle's knee, there's another one about a lion with different types of families and colours that are different colours and things like this. And there's another one that talked about sperm and uterus and all that kind of stuff in quite a cartoon character type way, which is quite handy as well. And I sat there and I think I was so nervous, and I was reading it to her and going through it, and then I said, waiting for the questions, and I said, "Did you like that book? What did you think?" And she said, "Yeah, it's good. Can I watch TV now?" So it's more stressful for you than it is for her.
Our daughter's now 8, and we've actually been telling our daughter, only because she was in the crib, like you were saying yesterday, and children as in general love when they read a story, when you read a story to them, but when they're the key figure, the key character in that story, oh my God, you should see her face light up. Tell me, Mummy, about that story. I will be driving to school. Tell me again when I was born, what did my face look like? And I tell the story, and I look at her in the reading, she goes, she's glowing like this. They just love it if they're the character in that book. It's beautiful.
On that note, I think we're well and truly out of time. I'd like to thank Kate very much for the presentation. And thank you all for the discussion as well. And there's now a picnic for those people who are interested on the program, but otherwise the formal part of the settings are over. So thank you for attending, and good afternoon.
Safe travel tomorrow.